Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today you and I will be working together on AWS IAM, and I hope you have already seen the explanation video on the channel that I recently posted. And if not, then please make sure that you watch that video as well in order to get the overall idea about the service. I'll give the link in the description as well so you can check it out. Okay, enough of talking. Let's start off with today's session, and I hope you have logged into your AWS Management Console. If not, please do that and join me in this working session. If you're not able to, then also it's just fine. You can watch the video and get the information that you want. Here we will start from the basics and we will also cover some of the advanced topics as well. So keep an open mind, and if you feel we are just going through the basic stuff and you just want to move over to the advanced stuff, then you can go to the timelines. I have already mentioned the chapters below, the timelines below. So you can select one of those and you can start watching from there as well. But I would recommend you to watch the whole video so that you get an overall flow, so that when you reach the advanced topics, you actually have covered the basics as well. So let's start off by understanding what are the basic features provided by IAM on the console. So this is basically your AWS Management Console. This is what it looks like when you log in. So for the first time that I'm trying to log in here, I'm trying to log in with the admin account, and you also can do the same. And here, if you see, we have a recently visited page where actually it is showing me all the list of AWS services that I've already visited. And if it is not giving you the option here, you can just click here and type IAM, and you will get this service option here in the search results. Click on that and you will land on to the IAM dashboard. Before moving forward, I just want to tell you an important setting that you need to do. Go here and click on settings. Here you can see we have the default language that is set to English US. And here, please make sure that you choose one of the default regions that you're working on. Okay, most of the times what happens is most of the members actually don't select this and they would have visited the region that is not mentioned here. Like, let's suppose the default setting here is to choose the last used region. So if suppose you have visited North Virginia or Ohio last time and you're just going to create EC2 instance, then you would not realize that you're creating it in these regions. And when you try to delete those instances, you might miss out on deleting the other instances created in other regions. So make sure that you have selected the default region that you're working on. By default, it will be last used region. So make sure that you choose the one that you're currently working on. For me, it is Asia Pacific AP South 1. So I'll choose this and I'll just save it. As I've already done it, I'll not save it again. So for me, it is Mumbai. And once I go to IAM, the biggest difference that you will see here, and as I already told you, that IAM is a global service. So you can see here, it is mentioned global. When you click on this, you will not be able to select any of the regions because it is a global service. Anything that is done on IAM will be reflected across all the regions that you have within your account. Okay, so here we are, and the first thing that we would want to do is basically create a IAM user. So let's see how we can create IAM users and how we can create user groups. The first thing that you want to do to create the user is basically go to the IAM dashboard, and here on the left hand side you can see access management, under which you have users. So you can just click on users. So these are the list of users that I have already created, and I have done it manually. So I can create one more as well. So click on add users. Here you can see you have to set the user details. So the first thing that we would do is give the user a name. So let's suppose I want to give it Tom. And here you have to select AWS access type. Select how these users will primarily access AWS. If you choose only programmatic access, it does not prevent users from accessing the console using an assumed role feature. Access keys and auto-generated passwords are provided in the last step. For now, what we have to do is let's suppose I don't want to give the user programmatic access. Then what I would do is basically choose only this and create the user. For now, let's suppose I want to give both the facilities for the user. So he can actually, or he or she can access it using the access keys or by using the password. That is the credential that we want to generate. So we will select both of them, and you have an option here to create a password which is auto-generated, or you can also provide a custom password. Mostly we provide custom passwords, so let's do that. So I have given the custom password and requires password reset. So this is something that you have to disable because we don't want to create new passwords every time we log into the account using that particular user Tom. So users automatically get IAM user change password policy to allow them to change their own password. So if suppose you select this policy gets attached to your user automatically. Now we have given the username, we have given the credential type, we have given the console password. So this will help us to log into the console, and this will be our username. So now just click on next. There's a very important step where you would like to either add this user to a group so that all the permission that the group has can be inherited by that particular user, or you can choose to copy permissions from an existing user. So it will list you all the usernames. So if suppose I want to copy all the permissions that dev has, I can just choose this and I can click on next. So it will copy all the policies that are attached to dev. But what I would do is I would just attach policies directly. So this is the third option, attach existing policies directly. Okay. So here either you can create a policy where you can attach a custom managed policy, or else you can attach the AWS managed policy as well. So let's suppose if you want to make this user as an admin, you can just provide admin access. But now what we will do is we'll just provide him a EC2 full access. So this user will be having Amazon EC2 full access. So let's see what this policy looks like. So this policy actually allows you 6 out of 375 services. So there is a allow permission for 6 of the services, and that too you have full access for CloudWatch, EC2, EC2 auto scaling, Elastic Load Balancer, and ELB v2. And you have limited write access for IAM. And if you see the JSON policy, so this summary that you see here, the policy summary can be also seen in the JSON. So if you can see here, we have the version, we have the statement, we have the action, effect, resource. So resource star means all the EC2 instances that you have, you can create them, and you can perform any operation that EC2 has. Similarly, you have allow for Elastic Load Balancing, CloudWatch, auto scaling, and you have a IAM create service linked role for the services that you have, so that you can make use of these services that are provided by AWS. So policy usage is currently attached to these users or groups, and this is the policy version, and the access advisor. Access advisor actually shows the service permissions granted to this user and when those services were last accessed. So you can find this information from here. And this is basically your policy ARN. This is the AWS managed policy ARN, and this will be common for all the users across AWS. Don't have to worry about that. And this provides full access to AWS EC2 via the AWS management console. So let's attach this policy to this particular user, that is Tom. And I don't want to set any permission boundaries. I have already told you, you can set a permission boundary to control the maximum permissions this user can have. And this is an advanced feature used to delegate permission management to others. So you can create user without a permission boundary, or else you can create a permission boundary to control the maximum user permission. We will discuss about permission boundaries later on, so that we can dedicate the time for this particular concept itself. So for now, what we can do is we can just create user without a permission boundary. And I think we have already attached the policy, so we can just click on next. Now you can add a tag. So my tag will be name, and I'll give an optional value that is Tom. Click on review. So review your choices. After you create the user, you can view and download the auto-generated password and access keys. So username is Tom, access type is programmatic access and AWS management console access. You have console password type as custom because we only provided the password, the custom password. Does it require password reset? No. Does it have a permission boundary? Permission boundary is not set. The following policies will be attached to the user shown above. So this is the policy that I attached, that is Amazon EC2 full access, and these are the tags. So now you can just click on create user to create the user. So once you create the user, you will get this message: you successfully created the users shown below. You can view and download user security credentials. You can also email users instruction for signing in to the AWS Management Console. Let's suppose this is some user that is a part of your team and you want to just send in the login instruction. So you can just click on send email so that you can actually send the email to that particular person, which is Tom. For now, what we can do is we can just download the CSV file, that is the access key and the secret access key that is going to help us connect to AWS using the programmatic access or CLI, and just save it in your system and don't lose it, so that you don't lose the access to the credentials that you just downloaded. So what happens if you click on send email? So here actually what it'll do is it'll format an email for you. Welcome to Amazon Web Services. Hello, you now have access to AWS Management Console for the account ending 9233. That is my account. The sign in URL is this, and this is Tom, and this is for the user Tom, and your password will be provided separately by your AWS account administrator. So as an administrator, you can just pass on to the credential to that particular user, that is Tom, and you can just send this email so that the user gets notified. Stay connected with AWS by creating a profile. You can do that. I don't have any time for that. Now that the user is created, you can just click on close. Now, as you can see, we have Tom, and it is added to the part of the list of usernames that we have here. So admin is basically admin. And if you can see, we have enabled MFA as well for this one. And the other users that you see here, Dev, Jenny, John, and Tom, they don't have it. Now, what we can do is we can just click on Tom, and you can see this is the ARN for the user. That is basically AWS IAM. This is the account ID, user/Tom. And the policy that is attached to it, attached directly, you have to make sure that you remember these things. Attached directly is Amazon EC2 full access. Groups, it is not belonging to any group right now. The tag that you have is name Tom. Security credentials. So we have the access key ID. So you can actually create access keys as well. If you lose or forget your secret key, you cannot retrieve it. And instead, you have to create a new access key and make the old key inactive. So if you forget this, you can just create a new one. And you can also upload your SSH public key so that you can make use of that for your AWS code commit. And also you can provide the Git credentials for AWS code commit. And the same thing for credential for Amazon key spaces, if you are working on databases for Apache Cassandra. So this is it. And I think we can actually create a few more users so that we can just add them to a group and see how it actually works. But before that, I just want to delete all these users that I had created previously so that I can show you what happens when you delete the users. So I have selected these three users, Dev, Journey, and John, and I'll just click on delete. And to confirm this, you have to just basically manually type delete in the text field and just click on delete. But in order to delete any user, you have to have admin privileges or full IAM full access so that you can actually delete those things or delete the users. So now what I'll do is I'll quickly create few users and I'll show you how we can create user groups. Now I have created 4 users, Jack, Jerry, Scooby, and Tom. And all of these users that you see here, all these 4 users, they are not admin access. They are just having certain policies attached to them. But this is about creating the users. So let's suppose we want to have a group of users so that we can apply policies to them, not individually, but collectively, so that we can apply policies to all of them at the same time. So for that, what we can do is we can just click on user groups. Here, this is a group that I had already created. Don't worry about this. Just click on this and delete developer. Let's delete this. So now, if you don't have any user groups already created, this is what you will see. So just click on create group. Okay, let's give it a name. So what name we should give? Accounts. Let's keep it as accounts. So accounts is a user group, and we have two users, Jack and Jerry, or Tom and Jerry. Okay, Tom and Jerry. We'll make them as a part of the user group, that is accounts. Now you can actually attach permissions as well from here itself, or you can actually create policies and attach to them. Now let's suppose I don't attach any policy and just I'll create the group. Let's see what happens. So this is the accounts group. Just click on this and permissions. There are no permissions. Let's see if we go back to the users, Jerry and Tom. This is Jerry. It has a policy attached to it directly. AWS Lambda full access. Let's see for Tom, EC2. He has EC2 access. But when we go to the user permission or the group permissions, we don't see any policies attached to it because we did not attach any policies to it. Those users have policies that are attached to them individually or directly when we created them. So if the group does not have any policies attached to it, the users will not inherit any policy by default. So this is one of the things that you have to understand, and you can attach up to 10 managed policies. Let's suppose I want to add a policy here. So I can either create an inline policy or I can create an attached policy, or I can attach a policy using this option. So let's suppose I want my users to be able to access RDS. So I want to provide them RDS full access. So what will happen is once you click on add permission and you have selected Amazon RDS, so this policy gets attached to this particular group, that is accounts. Amazon RDS full access. Now you can just refresh this. Okay, so this is fine. Go back to the users and let's see each of the permissions attached to this users. Now you see. This is the most important difference that you will see here. So attached directly is Amazon Web Services Lambda full access. Attached from group, that is attached from group's account. Group accounts. So AWS managed policy from group accounts is Amazon RDS full access. That is what we attached just now. And this is the group that we are attached to, that is accounts, Amazon RDS full access. Similarly, let's suppose we go to Tom, it will also have the same thing. So now what I'll do is I'll just click on add permission and I'll attach a few more policies, AWS health full access, AWS MQ API full access. I'll just add them. So now 3 policies have been attached to that particular group. Go back to one of the users and you will see there are 3 policies attached from the group and 1 policy that is attached directly. So now let's suppose what happens is Tom and Jerry are working in the organization and Jerry decided that he wants to quit. So for now what we'll do is we'll just reconfirm what the policies are attached to Jerry so that I can show you again. So it has Lambda full access and the 3 policies that are attached from the group that it belongs to. So what we can do is if Jerry wants to leave the organization or wants to switch the team, we can just select this and we can click on remove user. The user will lose the group permissions. Yes, that's what we are expecting. Click on remove. Now let's refresh this user, you can see it has lost all the group permissions because it does not belong to any of the groups. If suppose I go back and I add him to the group again, add to the group. Okay. Now I come back, it has the group policies attached to it. So that's how simple it is to actually add and remove users from the groups and attach policies. This is basically your custom managed, this is basically your AWS managed policy. So it is a bit easy here on the part to basically attach and detach, but you can also create your own policies, which are basically customer managed policies or custom policies, and you can also attach them to the group, or you can as well attach them to the user directly. Now let's go back to the users, and if you see, we'll just refresh this page. Now you can see Jack and Scooby have no association to any groups, but if you see Jerry and Tom, they are part of accounts group. So as I already told you, Tom is having EC2 full access, whereas Jerry does not have the EC2 permissions attached to it. So what will happen if it tries to create a EC2 instance? So let's do that. And I'll just log in with Jerry's account and I'll show you if it is able to create EC2 instances, even though it does not have any EC2 policies attached to it. So we'll log out from this and we'll log in using Jerry's account. So I hope you remember that you have created the user with the console password. So you have to remember the password and you have to log in using that itself. So now I have logged in to Jerry's account, switch to the new console. So you can see here we have Jerry. And now what I wanted to test was whether it is able to create EC2 instances or not. Click on this. See, everywhere you can see he is not able to do anything. Let's click on this to see the instance view. You are not authorized to perform this operation. Launch instance. See, you will see this page, but you can't do much about it because you will not be able to list any of the instance types, or you cannot create key pairs. So it's of no use. So I hope you're getting the idea here that if you don't have permissions to create EC2 instances, or if you don't have permissions or policies attached that are from EC2, then you will not be able to perform any operations here. So who has EC2 access? Tom, isn't it? So let's log in to Tom's account and see if we are able to create a EC2 instance. So what we can do here, we can just click on Jerry and sign out and log in with Tom's account. Let's go to IAM and see if it has any permissions. I know that it will not have because it doesn't have any permissions other than EC2 full access. So I don't think so we'll be able to see anything here. You can see you're not authorized to perform any operations. Users, you'll not be able to see roles, nothing. So the most important thing that we want to test is EC2. So just go to EC2. And here, hopefully you will not see those API errors because you have permissions to actually create the instance. So no instances found. Previously we used to see that we got the message that we don't have permissions, but here you can see you don't have any instances in this region. So what we can do here also, I just want to select settings and I just want to keep the default as Mumbai. I don't want to have any problems. Go to the new default region, Mumbai, and I'll just go to EC2 again. So the first important thing for us is to have EC2 access. So what we want to create instances. So we want to launch instances. So just click on launch instance. See, now you're able to see all the information that you want as a part of creating the instance. So Tom instance 1. So this is the name of the instance that I want to give. You can add additional tags. This is a very good option, but you have to see the new UI that they have created for simplicity. But most of the people may not be aware of this because they have not used the new UI. So please make sure that once you are logging into your AWS a free tier account, make sure that you come here and you create your instances and see how it works. So you have this free tier option in your first free year. It includes 750 hours of T2.micro or T3.micro in the region in which T2 micro is not available. Instance uses on free tier AMI per month, 30 GB of ABS storage, 2 million IO, 1 GB of snapshot, and 100 GB of bandwidth to the internet. So you can use this as a part of your free tier account for your testing. So we have given the name, we have AWS Linux AMI, and we can choose one of the free tier ones. Just choose this. You can either choose x86 or ARM. I'll choose x86. And this is the free tier eligible T2.micro instance type. And you can also click here to compare the instances. So you can see here the on-demand prices, on-demand Windows pricing. And I think that is enough for us for now. If you are not willing to log into this instance by using SSH, then you don't have to create the key pair. But for simplicity purpose, and if I just want to show you, I can also create it. So click on create key pair. Here the key pair allows you to connect to your instance securely. You can give it a name. So I'll give Tom key, and it will be a RSA key for me because I want a private and public key. And the private key format will be PEM. I don't want to do a PPK because I'm not using PuTTY. So I'll just create a key pair here. And it has already downloaded that for me. So it's a very good thing. Don't lose that, or else you have to create a new one. Now that we have created the key pair, the network setting, there's the default VPC that I have. I'm not going to provide any preferences for my subnet. The next one is auto assign public IP. I have enabled it. Now what we have is we have a storage configuration that is 8 GB GPB2 volume. And if you want, you can add more new volumes as well. Click on advanced. So you can choose what type of instance profile that you want and what type of host name that you want. Okay. So something that you need to see here is IAM list instance profile is not available to us because we don't have the permission. So either you have to allow that permission or the policy to that particular user before performing this operation, or else you can't do that. So here there are a lot of settings that you can actually choose from, and we will discuss this later. So now that's it. You can just click on create instance, or that is launch instance. Just click on this. It will give you all the information. Now view all instance. Click on refresh. Now our instance has been created. Okay, so now it is running. Congratulations, you have created your instance. Okay, there is something that it's not allowing us to do. This is basically your AWS Compute Optimizer finding. So Tom is not authorized to perform Compute Optimizer get enrollment status on resource star because no identity based policy allows Compute Optimizer get enrollment status action. So here, if you want to see this, because I'm not on admin, I'll just copy this and I'll save it for you here so that I can get back to this when I go back to the admin account, and I'll show you what policy is it talking about. Now you have the instance ID, there's the instance ID, there's the public IP address. This is what you can use to actually SSH into this instance from your local machine. There's the private IP address. So now what we can do is we can just see how we can actually connect it. So right click on this instance and click on connect. So there are 4 ways that AWS allows you to connect to this particular instance. So there's basically your EC2 instance connect. So there's the first one, EC2 instance connect, but I'll tell you there is one problem here. And when I click on connect, you will see that. When I click on connect, yes, obviously there was a problem connecting to your instance because it is not able to connect or SSH into this securely. We are unable to connect to your instance. Verify that your IAM policy is correctly configured to use EC2 instance connect. So these are 2 things that you have to understand. EC2 instance connect is important. Remember this. We'll go back to the admin account and we'll check that. Next thing is session manager. So here also Tom is not authorized to perform SSM describe instance information. So because there is no IAM policy, SSM describe instance information attached to this. So this is also something that you have to keep in mind. Now these two options are not available to us. Let's see. Yes, this is available to us. So you have this OpenSSH client. Let's suppose you want to connect it from your terminal. You can just use the key that we got, and you can change the permission for that, and you can actually SSH into this particular instance. I'll show you later on how we can actually do this, but this topic is for IAM, and I have already shown you how you can connect to EC2 instances using your private keys. So you can go to that video and actually watch them. This is purely for our IAM usage, so we will talk about the IAM part itself. And the next part is EC2 serial console. So this also is not possible because this account is not authorized to use the EC2 serial console. So even though you have EC2 full access, it does not guarantee you that you can do all the operations. What we want to do is we want to log out from this. We have created this instance. It's well and good. I'll just log out and I'll log in to admin, and I'll give some of the permissions to Tom so that we can actually see by adding permissions how we can effectively use AWS and its resources. Sure. Now I am in my admin account. Let's go to Tom's profile. What was I saying? Tam. Okay. Now what we will do here is we'll remove him from this group. Let's see. Let's remove Tom from this group. Let's go to users. Let's go to Tom. And I want to add some permissions. I want to attach them directly. Now the first thing that I want to do is compute, right? Compute optimizer. If you see, you will see here that this is the one that we were missing, isn't it? So let's give this user this access, compute optimizer read-only access, and next review, add permission. This is the basic way of adding it. I'm not explicitly scrutinizing the way we are adding it, but I'm just trying to tell you that you can add it this way, but I can actually create a custom policy where I can explicitly define what I want. I can grant him the least privileges as well. But for now, I'm just doing this so that you don't get confused initially itself. The third one was EC2 instance connect. EC2 instance connect. Yeah. Let's see this permission. Instance connect, describe instances, and instance connect, send SSH public key. Fine. We have this. Let's attach it. Now we have 4 policies that are attached to the user Tom. That is EC2 full access, SSM read-only access, compute optimizer read-only access, and EC2 instance connect. Let's log out and log in with Tom's user again, and let's see if he is able to connect to the instance using the options that we had previously. Now I have logged into Tom's account. You can see Tom. Click on EC2. There's the instance that was running, and we'll see when I click on that one, click on this instance, I should not get any errors about the compute optimizer field. See, opt into AWS compute optimizer for recommendations. So now we are not getting this error. So what we were trying to do is we were trying to connect to this instance. So just right click on this and click on connect. See, just try to connect to this. It should be able to SSH. Yes. So now this is the instance that we wanted to check as we created it. So this is EC2 user and this is the host name. Yes, so we are able to connect to this. The next thing, session manager. SM agent is not installed in this one. So even though we would have done this, we would not have been able to create it. So that's something that that's my mistake. I didn't tell you this before, but you need to have a SM agent so that you can create a session. And based on the session manager, you can actually perform operation or operational tasks on this particular instance. So this was good. We were able to solve a lot of problems using IAM itself. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. So one thing that we have understood is anything that we want to actually do on AWS, we need policies. And who can give us the policies? It's basically IAM. And who can actually give us the permissions using IAM is someone who has access, or who is an admin who has access to IAM and its services, and who can actually modify or change or update or delete permissions or policies within the user that we have created. So that will be our admin, and that's what you can become by using your free tier account. And I hope you enjoyed the first part of the demo. And I just don't want to confuse you with all the details at once. So I just wanted to make a small video on this one so that you get a first hands-on experience with creating the users, by creating user groups, adding permissions and policies, and actually seeing how if you don't have permissions attached to your user, you will not be able to perform operations. And I hope you will be joining me the next time as well when I post the video. So please make sure that you subscribe and you click on the notification button so that whenever I post a video, you will get the notification about it. And we have 24% of the people only subscribe to the channel. So please make sure that you subscribe and help this channel grow. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. It's Pythoholic signing off.